Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Ashley, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you guys about those first steps that you need to take before opening your home daycare. Now these steps I'm talking about like right when you want to become a home daycare provider, before you buy anything, before you tell anybody, before you make any moves, you need to do these three things. Now they're very essential. I feel like you can't go around them. I think, you know, a lot of the videos that I do, sometimes they're unique to my state, Florida, because I'm in Florida. And sometimes there are people that are from different states that I can't really help because it's different for every state. But these three things, I think you can count on me saying that like 99.9% of you guys are gonna have to do these things regardless. So becoming a home daycare provider, in the beginning, it sounds like it's a lot of stuff. I was literally looking at, this printout from online. I'm trying to help a friend of mine open up a home daycare, and I'm looking at all of this and it looks like a lot, and she seems like she's really overwhelmed. But when you look at it all, it's broken down, and I'm here to help you guys not feel overwhelmed when it comes to opening home daycare. So take one step at a time. Let's look at the beginning of the checklist, and basically this is going to be at the beginning of your checklist whenever you're starting your home daycare. So the first thing that you need to do, before anything, is find out if it's allowed with your HOA, with your landlord, and if there's any restrictions. So you're gonna wanna contact your HOA to send you their covenants and restrictions. So every community that has HOA, they have basically, it's like a packet of rules on what's allowed, what's not allowed, what could happen and what can't happen. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar, I am expecting, and we were looking to change homes. So changing homes would require a new landlord, it would require a new lease, it would require a new community, and I would have to basically, as a daycare provider, go through all of these steps as well. Now, I found a property that I was really interested in, and the first thing I did was ask them for their covenants and restrictions. And this is like a new construction community, so the houses are new. It's not gated community, but usually new construction homes and the communities of new construction places don't allow home daycares, so don't allow any businesses. But when I found that house, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ask them for their covenants and restrictions. She sent it to me. And if I have a picture of it, I'll insert it here. But I read it and I was like, I can have a home daycare. And I was in shock. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. And I called her and I emailed her and I told her, hey, you know, this is the business. She said, as long as it's legit and it's like legal, so it's not like I'm just babysitting and I don't have signs in my front yard saying I'm a home daycare. As long as I do things the right way, it's allowed. So you have to read the covenants and restrictions. You know, I was a little bit discouraged. I was like, oh my God, the HOA is not gonna allow it. You'd be surprised if you look at your covenants and restrictions. And the last thing I also want you to do is buy a house, which I've seen happen on Facebook, like with daycare providers. They buy houses to do home daycare. They think about the layout, what color they're gonna do on the walls, and they think about everything, but they don't contact the HOA. And if the HOA says no, you can't do it. So you just bought a house, which is a huge purchase, and you can't have your home daycare there because of your HOA. Now, if you have a landlord, you're gonna wanna check your lease, because there are some leases that say no home daycares are allowed. They literally say childcare, because people do buy or rent houses to do childcare as well. And I've seen leases that literally specifically say no childcare, daycare is home, something like that, was worded like that. But you need to read your lease as well, and you need to get permission from your landlord as well. That is a huge step. I think that you need to take the time to do your research, and you can find someone to help you. I help people, you know, when they send me their leases or they send me their HOA things, I'll look through it and I'll give them an idea, like, okay, you know, you can't, or okay, let me call them and let me see what I can talk to them about to get something done for you guys. But you have to take that step, because the last thing, again, you want to do is do everything the right way, and then your HOA gets in the way of it, or your lease says that you can't have a home daycare and you gotta refine a new property and redo everything again. The second thing that you need to do is check what your county requires. So in the state of Florida, there are, I don't know how many counties, but here specifically it says if you live in the following counties, licensure is mandatory. So it says Brevard County, Broward County, Clay County, Duval, and it has a list of all of the counties that have to be licensed. So in the state of Florida, you can be registered, you can be licensed, or you could be large licensed home daycares. Large licensed home daycares we're not going to really pay attention to because you have to be licensed for, I believe, 2 years to be able to be large licensed. So if you're doing everything the right way when you're licensed, you'll be able to get large licensed. But basically, different counties have different regulations. I live in a county where you're allowed to be registered. You don't have to be licensed, but I have the option to if I want to. But there are counties where, like for example, Polk and Sarasota County, you have to be licensed. So you're gonna have to check with your county to check if there's a specific tier, if you wanna call it like that you need to be able to have a home daycare in that county. And then you're just gonna wanna make sure that you're just doing everything, again, the right way within that county. And then the third thing is find out what is needed to open the type of program you need and get to work. So again, if you're registered, there are some things that you have to do. If you are licensed, there are some things that you have to do. I was looking at both of them. Now for licensed, you have to do a little bit more. You have to have your CPR and first aid certification. When you're registered, it's an option, it's not mandatory, but you have to have it when you're licensed. You also have to have a fire extinguisher training, which you don't need to have if you are registered again. So there are some trainings that you're gonna have to do as a licensed daycare provider that you're not gonna have to do if you're registered. And again, every state is different. So you're gonna find out what home daycare you're supposed to have or what you're gonna choose, I guess you'd say. So if you're in Florida and you are in a county where you can be either registered or licensed, you're gonna find out which one you wanna be. And then once you figure out which one you wanna be, just print out the form, which is this one. You can find it. It's just Google registered home daycare DCF Florida and it'll pop up and you just print it and then you start working on all of the things that you need to work on. So those 3 steps I think are really essential. Again, before you paint, before you purchase, before you tell anybody anything, I think that you need to take those 3 steps to figure out what is gonna be happening, because home daycare is amazing. This is a job, and this is what I really like about it, is it's a job that can be for a short amount of time or it could be for a long amount of time. There are providers that I see that have been doing it for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. I just met a lady and she's been doing it since 1992, which she's been doing it for so many years. I was at her house the other day, and what I'm saying is you could do it for that long, or if you know you just want to do it until your kids start school, you can do it like that as well. But that's what I like about this home daycare, and knowing that you can do it for a long time. I think that making sure that you go over all of these little things that I told you about as far as HOA and landlords and stuff like that is really important, because it's a step that it might be a hassle, but it's not impossible. You're gonna have to do a little bit more work to be able to find out, like, again, reading documents and reading leases and stuff like that, but it's worth it, and it's just gonna take a little bit more work, which isn't impossible at all. So those would be the first steps that I would recommend taking if you're looking to becoming an in-home daycare provider. And yes, that basically completes that video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, leave me questions in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video.